The crucible hung in orbit like a jagged jewel against the dying light of a neutron star, its spires and terraces reflecting the star's cold, pulsing glow. Below, the arena shifted continuously, gravity zones flickering, modular landscapes rotating, and clouds of acidic mist curling over jagged rock formations. Tens of thousands of alien eyes glinted across holoscreens and observation platforms, each creature waiting for the spectacle to begin. "Behold the final specimen," a commentator crooned, his voice layered with synthetic harmonics. "Fragile, emotional, and entertaining." Elias Varn knelt in the holding cell, his wrists restrained by cuffs that hummed faintly with energy suppression. Bruises and scars lined his arms, his jaw tight, his eyes cold but alert. He wasn't afraid, he was calculating. Every heartbeat, every flicker of motion outside his cage fed data into his mind. Survival demanded observation first. Action second. The cell door hissed, and a cold, bioluminescent light spilled across his face. His gaze lifted. The arena loomed beyond, a jagged landscape of alien flora and shifting terrain. Predators patrolled the edges, creatures engineered for efficiency, each with claws that could tear metal and senses tuned for lethal precision. A voice, smooth and deliberate, filled the air. "You are humanity's last. Make them proud, or perish," said Zyrelthan, broadcasting directly into the arena. Elias didn't flinch. He ignored the theatrics. Survival was a problem, not a performance. The door opened. A ramp descended into the arena. Elias rose, testing his legs. Every movement precise, controlled, silent. As he stepped onto the ground, acidic mist curled around his boots, sizzling at the touch. The first predator emerged from the shadows, a four-legged hunter with jagged spines running down its back, fangs glinting. The crowd gasped. Bets were cast. Death was expected within seconds. Elias crouched, scanning. Patterns emerged. Footprints in the damp soil, subtle vibrations in the air, the faint hiss of the predator's respiration. He didn't move blindly. He observed, calculated, exploited. A sudden shift in wind direction carried the scent of the acid rain through the predator's sensors. Elias seized the moment. He grabbed a fallen branch, lured the creature over a shallow pool of corrosive runoff, and jabbed. It screeched, faltered, and collapsed. Not dead but injured enough to buy him distance. "Interesting," Cyril murmured through the broadcast, almost to himself. "Adaptation, unexpected." Elias didn't acknowledge the comment. Movement was life. The terrain was a tool. He navigated through tangled alien vines, using them to trip smaller predators, forcing them into natural traps. A low, rumbling growl indicated another threat approaching. He froze, gauging the direction, the velocity, the intent. Timing became instinct, reaction sharpened by decades of military precision. A flying predator swooped, talons extended. Elias rolled beneath it, grabbed a jagged rock, and hurled it. The creature staggered, clipped by the momentum. Elias moved on, silent, efficient. Moments stretched into minutes. Minutes into hours, though the crowd saw only flashes of struggle and skill. Commentary droned, alternating mockery and awe. He survives another cycle," one alien commentator muttered, its tone incredulous. "Primitive yet clever," another added, adjusting its crystalline mask. Elias found a vantage point atop a craggy outcrop, surveying the arena. Acid mist swirled below, predators prowled, and shifting terrain hinted at hazards yet unseen. No human should be able to endure this environment. That was precisely why he would. Internal calculations guided him. Gravity fluctuations would increase as the arena shifted. Acid rain would intensify in predictable cycles. Predator patterns repeated after minutes. Each observation became a blueprint, each decision a line in the map of survival. Then came the first environmental trap, a section of floor collapsing into a pit of molten sludge. Instinct and timing saved him. He leapt, grabbed a vine, swung, and landed on solid ground. The predators hesitated, unfamiliar with the sudden gap. Elias used the moment, moving silently through a cluster of alien ferns, merging with the shadows. A glimmer of light caught his eye, a shard of a broken drone, abandoned after a previous encounter. He picked it up, weighing it in his hand. Improvised weaponry. Even in a fight designed to be hopeless, he found advantage. Every tool, every instinct, every observation stacked in his favor. From the observation towers, Zyrothan watched. Curiosity edged into fascination. "This one defies the narrative," Zyro whispered, the voice weaving through the broadcast channels. "Fragility twisted into cunning. We will see how far he goes." Elias paused at the edge of a cliff, rain hissing against his shoulders. He listened. No movement behind him, only the distant, irregular patter of alien creatures searching for prey. He let the predators close slightly, baited them into a controlled path. Then, with precision, he manipulated the terrain. A vine snapped, a boulder rolled, and two hunters were trapped in their own aggression. Breathing controlled, muscles coiled, mind alert, he pressed on. He survived. The crowd, expecting a swift, primitive demise, faltered in their excitement. Bets lost. Murmurs of disbelief swept across viewing platforms. Humanity's last representative had endured more than anyone anticipated. Cyrel's attention sharpened. "Perhaps humans are not so trivial after all," the alien mused. Elias climbed a rise and finally paused, surveying the arena from above. Every predator, every hazard, every tactical option was visible. He allowed himself a momentary calm, not relief, not triumph, only calculation. The arena was vast, the dangers endless, and the next round would be harder. But for now, he had survived. And survival was only the beginning. The next chamber of the crucible unfolded like a disorienting dream. Gravity shifted in unpredictable pulses, tilting the ground, twisting the air, throwing debris and predators alike into chaotic arcs. Acid mist still lingered in pockets, but this chamber was engineered for precision death. Mechanized predators, hovering drones, and lethal traps coordinated to overwhelm. The audience, thousands of light years away, leaned forward in anticipation, placing bets that the human would fail within moments. Elias adjusted instantly. No hesitation. No panic. His boots gripped the slanted floor as the gravity pulse lifted him slightly, then slammed him down. He rolled, letting momentum carry him past a hovering drone armed with cutting lasers. He used the tilt to his advantage, angling the drone into a support beam, where it snagged and crashed. A voice crackled through the arena's speaker system. Zyrothan's voice, calm, deliberate, almost theatrical. "Adaptation is admirable, human, but you have yet to understand the rules of this game. The chamber is alive. It anticipates. It corrects." Elias didn't reply. Words were irrelevant. Observation, calculation, and execution mattered more. He crouched behind a shifted platform, eyes scanning. Patterns emerged. Gravity pulses followed a rhythm, drones swept predictable arcs, and even the bioengineered predators, despite their design, responded mechanically to the environment. If he could identify patterns, he could exploit them. A drone swept past his cover again. Timing and trajectory calculated in milliseconds, Elias leapt, grabbed a loose support cable, swung, and kicked the drone into a pit of molten sludge. Sparks flew, its systems fried. Another predator, larger than the first, stalked silently across the tilted floor. Elias assessed its movement, forward momentum exaggerated by the fluctuating gravity. A simple feint, and the predator would stumble. He feinted. The predator fell into a trap of its own path, crashing into a hanging lattice of razor-sharp metal vines. Elias moved, silent and precise, seizing every opening. From the observation towers, Zyrel tilted his head, fascinated. "Curious," he murmured. "The human learns. Predicts. Adapts faster than expected. Perhaps there is merit in persistence, or perhaps arrogance." Elias found another resource, a small control panel partially exposed by shifting floor tiles. Cables ran to the arena's environmental controls, gravity, traps, hazard release. He studied it, noting timing delays and feedback loops. The Crucible's systems weren't instantaneous. Every command had lag, every cycle predictable with enough observation. He didn't touch it yet. Observation first, action second. Another drone approached, faster, more lethal. Elias moved as he had with the others, but this time he baited it into a trap of his own design. Using debris and gravity, he created a temporary barrier. The drone collided, systems sparking, momentarily incapacitated. He retrieved a small energy cell, weighing it in his hand. Improvised tools, always essential. Impressive, Cyril admitted, voice now carrying a trace of admiration. I expected fear. I expected screams. Instead, method. Elias moved through the chamber like a shadow, never stopping, always calculating. Each predator, each hazard became part of a larger map in his mind. Gravity pulses, environmental triggers, drone patrols, even the spectators' influence. Their excitement shifted arena timing subtly, became data. He would turn it all to his advantage. Minutes passed, or hours. Time was distorted in the flux of the crucible. He paused briefly on a raised platform to survey the chamber. 2 hovering drones hovered nearby, waiting. 2 predators stalked in the shifting shadows. A sudden spike in gravitational force sent one predator tumbling into a pit. Elias waited, letting the environment claim another hazard for him. The arena was reacting now. Systems adjusted. Lasers swept wider arcs. Gravity pulses intensified. The bioengineered predators adapted, testing his reactions. He adapted in turn, using their aggression against them, manipulating balance and leverage. One predator charged blindly, only to be flung into a cascade of molten runoff that Elias had timed perfectly. Sparks and screams echoed across the chamber. Perhaps this is entertainment after all. A spectator voice hissed through the broadcast feed. Never have I seen a primitive respond with such deliberate efficiency. Cyril's voice cut across the chamber again. You are no longer a curiosity, human. You are a problem. Elias didn't respond. Words were a tool for others. For him, movement, observation, and action sufficed. He noticed a pattern. Hazard deployment lagged fractionally after audience interaction. A small delay, measurable, exploitable. He tested it, baiting 2 predators into a narrow shoot timed with a gravity shift. They collided violently, incapacitating one. He used the brief chaos to move through the chamber unscathed. Internal calculations sped up. He realized something crucial. The crucible could be manipulated, not just endured. Every hazard, every system, every predator had a rhythm. Every rhythm had a flaw. Every flaw was a doorway to control. A sudden roar from behind reminded him of the stakes. A massive predator, heavier and faster than the others, lunged. Elias rolled, grabbed an energy shard from a fallen drone, and struck with precision. Sparks flew. The creature faltered, but did not die. His intent wasn't carnage, it was survival. Cyril's voice softened into a murmur, almost reflective. Humans, fragile, yes. Yet unpredictable. Ingenious. It is unsettling. The arena's hazards intensified, but Elias anticipated every pulse, every swing of mechanical arm, every drone sweep. He moved with efficiency, creating minor collisions, misdirecting predators, and exploiting system timing. The audience gasped repeatedly, losing bets, murmuring disbelief. Hours, or what felt like hours, passed. Elias finally reached a vantage point overlooking the center of the chamber. The arena pulsed below him, alive and dangerous, but he understood it now. Each hazard, each predator, each mechanical system followed a logic, a rhythm, and he had memorized it. He paused. Breathing controlled, muscles coiled. He had survived this stage, not through brute force, not through luck, but through observation, adaptation, and strategy. From the observation towers, Cyril leaned forward. This human is no longer merely prey, he said, voice tinged with fascination. He is a contender. Elias' mind already shifted to the next phase, calculating possibilities, predicting traps, planning routes. He had survived the first challenge. He would survive the second. And when the Crucible underestimated him again, they would learn that humans are not meant to be cornered, they are meant to adapt, improvise, and survive. The pulse of the arena slowed for a brief pause, a momentary lull in chaos. Elias crouched, scanning, observing, calculating. Survival was no longer just instinct, it was opportunity. And opportunity, in the hands of a human who refused to die, was dangerous. The Crucible shuddered like a living entity, its mechanical spine twisting, platforms shifting, and gravity spikes snapping at impossible intervals. The arena had escalated beyond predictable danger. Every surface, every hazard, every predator had been calibrated to kill. Yet Elias Varn moved with the precision of someone who understood patterns not by chance, but by design. Hovering drones, faster and more lethal than before, traced arcs overhead. Bioengineered hunters, twice the size and strength of anything he had faced, stalked the shadows. Acid rain hissed from vents hidden above. The audience, thousands of light years away, leaned forward, expecting an end that would justify their wagers. Cyril Than's voice, resonant and deliberate, echoed through the chamber. You endure longer than reason permits, human. The arena adapts. You cannot! Elias ignored the words. Observation first. Action second. He scanned, noting every pattern, the drone's sweep arcs, the hunter's hunting rhythm, the timing of gravity fluctuations. The Crucible had a rhythm. Every rhythm had a flaw. He waited for the first hunter to charge. Its weight tilted the floor slightly, disrupting a nearby drone's flight. Elias seized the moment. He rolled beneath the hunter, grabbed a fallen energy shard from a broken drone, and struck the predator's leg joint. Sparks and synthetic sinew snapped. The creature faltered, roaring in frustration, but remained alive, its aggression now a weapon. Using its stumble, Elias baited it toward a precarious platform. With a swift push, the predator tumbled into the molten pit below. A cascade of sparks and corrosive steam erupted. He didn't pause to gloat. Others were coming. From above, Zyrel observed, voice tight with a mixture of irritation and admiration. Interesting. The human manipulates the environment as though it were an extension of himself. He is unpredictable. Elias spotted a control panel partially exposed amid the debris of a collapsed platform. The Crucible's central systems pulsed faintly, giving life to gravity, hazards, and predator movement. He could manipulate these systems, but one misstep would trigger lethal feedback. Timing, precision, and speed were essential. He worked quickly, overriding minor environmental nodes, a gravity spike here, a floor shift there. Drones were flung into each other, hunters stumbled into traps he had set with previous observations. Chaos rippled through the arena, but it was controlled chaos, directed by him. Do you truly believe you can control this arena? Zyrel's voice slithered through the chamber, filled with disbelief. I don't believe, Elias replied evenly. I know. The bioengineered hunters adapted faster, coordinating with drones in real time. Elias leapt, rolled, and fired improvised weapons, exploiting microseconds of lag in the system. One hunter lunged, but Elias ducked, letting it collide with a drone, sending both crashing into molten runoff. Sparks and chemical smoke created a temporary cover. He ran across the uneven terrain, analyzing the arena as he moved. Every hazard, every opponent, every timing pattern was now a puzzle he could manipulate. The Crucible was no longer simply a death trap, it had become a tool. A deadly tool, but one he wielded with precision. Remarkable, Zyro whispered, almost to himself. Persistence, cunning, he elevates survival to strategy. Elias paused at the center of the chamber, surveying the chaos. Gravity pulses flung predators into walls, drones sparked mid-flight, and sections of the arena collapsed under engineered stress. He exploited each disruption, baiting one predator into another, using falling debris to sever drone circuits, and redirecting hazards to create controlled collisions. Then came the final escalation. Zyrel appeared remotely through a combat avatar, towering, multi-limbed, pulsating with bioluminescent intensity. Its weapons glowed, its movement was precise, designed to neutralize the human. You think you understand control, human? Cyril said, voice amplified across the arena. I am the Crucible. You will break here. Elias met the Avatar's gaze. Calm. Calculated. You made assumptions, he said quietly. Assumptions are dangerous. The Avatar lunged. Elias rolled beneath its strike, grabbing loose debris and hurling it into one of its limbs. Sparks flew. Its momentum disrupted. He jumped, slammed his shoulder into its side, and ducked as it recovered. Each movement exploited an opening created by his manipulation of the arena. The battle became a dance. Elias used terrain shifts, gravity anomalies, and environmental hazards as extensions of himself. The Avatar's attacks became less efficient as he anticipated patterns, redirecting force into walls, pits, and malfunctioning systems. Cyril's voice grew sharper, more desperate. Stop defying the design! I'm not defying it, Elias said. I'm surviving it, and using it against you. A critical sequence presented itself, overlapping hazards that could trigger chain reactions. Elias calculated quickly. He manipulated minor controls, rerouted energy flows, and created a cascade. Gravity spikes flung drones into hazards, hunters into molten traps, and parts of the arena itself began collapsing. Chaos erupted. The arena groaned, cracks spreading across platforms. The audience screamed in astonishment. Systems meant to control death now amplified destruction, but the human at the center remained untouched, moving with lethal precision. Cyril, realizing the flaw in his own design, tried to compensate, but every adjustment lagged behind Elias' actions. The Crucible was breaking apart, predator against predator, drone against system, hazard against itself. Elias moved calmly through the devastation, methodical, deliberate. Finally, Cyril's avatar faltered, trapped between falling debris and an errant predator. Elias approached, breathing steady, eyes unshaken. You wanted to see a human die, he said, voice low. Instead, you created a massacre. The avatar collapsed. Sparks and energy arcs fizzled into silence. The arena stilled, the hazard systems failing, gravity stabilizing at last. Elias surveyed the wreckage. Predators lay incapacitated, drones fried, and the Crucible itself groaned like a wounded beast. The broadcast ended abruptly, but fragments spread across the galaxy. Spectators who had expected a show of death witnessed something else entirely. A human who had turned their arena into a weapon of survival and chaos. Elias took a final glance at the shattered chamber, scanning exits and calculating his next move. The Crucible had underestimated him. The galaxy would now know that humans were not merely fragile or expendable. They were dangerous, adaptable, and unyielding. A final thought crossed his mind as he disappeared into the shadows of the wrecked arena. They wanted to watch a human die. Instead, they learned why you never corner one.